My view lies on the premise that we should be blaming the owners. It's the owner's fault. Why is it that any time that there's a fatality when it comes to a dog attack or anything like that, I want to see harsher sentences on the counterpart for the owner, because there's no justice on that part, I think, and there needs to be more significant amp up in rules and regulations towards penalizing those who are owners of these dogs rather than just culling off the dog, because I feel like that's just the way that this country has gone about everything that they do. You know, if they see a problem, they'll just go straight to the source of it and they'll just cut it off straight away. It's one thing to say something, but it's a completely different thing to actually execute it.
I completely agree with the onus is on the owner for bringing up or for causing the dog to go berserk like that. It seems like the first response for the government or for the authorities to prevent a dog attack is to get rid of the dog, when, like you said, they should be aiming it at the owner. And that's when the whole morality issue comes into play. And that's what a lot of dog owners and also non-dog owners like me to an extent are saying. It's not moral to just kill these dogs off just because they have been involved in a dog attack, because to a degree it's our own faults that we've bred them that way.
Yo guys, so welcome to today's Spotlight Stories. This is a new series which we'll be doing week in, week out, where we'll be discussing ultimately kind of like trending topics, particularly on the light of I guess, out of the limelight of politics, but kind of, still mainstream topics that we still kind of want to discuss. And in today's topic, we're going to be discussing the banning of XL bullies and what we think of it, our opinions, why maybe other breeds might possibly get banned, possibly compare our systems, whether, like the one that they have in America, they might still have pit bulls, but why is it that they haven't banned it? Do they still have fatality rates just as high as us? Or maybe their fatality rates are slightly higher and still decide to keep their dogs? Is it to do with the person who raises the dog? Is it on their part? We have to kind of speculate these questions and be able to break these down ultimately, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Biash, how are you doing today?
Doing great, and I'm really looking forward to this because this is very much not our usual piece of content that we record.
Yes.
And I feel like with this, our opinions and our rivalries might start to show, because we might not necessarily agree on a piece of news. Hint, because we don't really agree on this one. But anyway, what I also wanted to say, I read an article, a BBC article, and we can include that at some point, and it was what to do when you're getting attacked by a dog.
Wow. Okay.
So it will be some pretty useful news, and I think that's a good question to start with. Joseph, personally, have you been attacked by a dog?
Okay. First and foremost, I want to put this out there before I say anything from this point onwards. I have a dog. I am a dog owner. And this is also from a perspective for someone who doesn't have a dog. So we can kind of see both sides of the story here, kind of articulate our discussions and our viewpoints as well. And actually, no, I have not been attacked by a dog, because I feel like the term attacked, there's like a scale. I feel like, I could be play fighting with my dog and my dog could have just play bit me,
Yes, but
then again,
was it I'm talking about if it was someone else's dog who let's say, did they chase you, did they run, and were you at some point did you have a fear that dog might bite you? Not your own.
Maybe back in the day when I was in India, I felt like I've been chased by a couple dogs here and there. I haven't actually been attacked by a dog.
Everywhere.
Street dogs, particularly in India, riveted with their rabies, all sorts of different viruses. You don't know where their mouth has been, of course. But long story short, I have been chased by dogs. I have run away from dogs, but I'm a dog-friendly geezer. I have not actually been attacked by it. And likewise, I pose the same question to you, Bihash. Have you been attacked or brutally assaulted by a dog?
Brutally assaulted? No, I have been chased, I think, when I was quite young in a local park. And I did the terrible mistake, and I'll get into this later, but I did the terrible mistake of running away, because I was, I think I must have been about 5, 6, quite young, so I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Ran away. I don't know if I started screaming. I probably started screaming and crying as well.
Yeah.
But just that fear of that dog running towards me, I started sprinting.
Right.
It started, I don't know if it thought it was playing, I don't remember what breed it was, but I don't know if it thought that I was playing with it or not. But I did the mistake of running away and it chased me.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything. I think the dog owner got there by the time it even reached me. So I was playing badminton in the park though. So what I was doing, I had my badminton racket in in my hand. And I was trying to hit the dog with it when I'm running away.
Oh, that's crazy. But you must have been young though. So you must have been terrified.
I was terrified. I was young, so I had no other choice but to hit it. I didn't actually do any damage with it because I don't think it ever got to me like that. I'm just too fast, you know. But yeah, that was my experience. I was quite young, but I've never been attacked.
Okay.
And although, unlike you, I do not have a dog, I understand your point of view, partially because, of course, I've seen your dog. You have a very wonderful dog, let me just say. One of the best I've seen.
Thank you.
And I've met. So I understand most of the viewpoints that are against this fairly new regulation saying that XL bully dogs are banned. But then again, I also understand why they have been banned. Let me just put it that way.
Okay. Let me pose this question to you, Viyash. You brought this question up earlier about protecting yourself from a dog attack. Could you run me through some of the things that, let's say, somewhat of you are watching this right now, they don't know how to protect themselves. I feel like the instinct that we all would have would be to run away. And that's been from not only from my part of the story, but also your part of the story. And I think that's intrinsic in human nature as well, to run away from a dog rather than confront the dog and then possibly get brutally attacked. So how is it that we would kind of stop ourselves from getting attacked? What are the necessary steps that we need to take?
Well, first of all, an XL bully dog, I can describe it. I can put a picture up as well so you can see it. They have generally a large and broad head. Of course, they've got teeth, quite sharp teeth, and they look very muscular as well. So I think it's the quite typical pit bull that you would see in American movies or even in English ones with the bulldogs, and they're looking all muscular, heavily muscled with a broad chest, medium length or low set tail with a glossy or smooth coat. I'm just reading off the diagram, by the way, which will be up now. But I saw this article, and this was put up because there was a recent incident with a lady called Esther Martin who was killed after trying to break up a fight between two XL bully puppies.
Do you want to share your screen so we can actually have a look at what it is that you're looking at? Is that all right, Viyash?
Sure. Give me a sec. So this was the article that I saw on BBC. What can you do to protect yourself if you're being attacked by a dog? The main message I got from this is that each and every situation you are put in is always going to be different. So you might not necessarily have the ideals that they state in this article. Now, the main thing that they said was not to do what I did when I was younger, that is to run away. And I know sometimes it's difficult because you're faced in that situation. Everything happens so quickly and you're put in this fight or flight response. And the most urging thing to do is for you to run away. But then when you run away, you start instigating a response from the dog, and that is to run towards you because they think A, they're playing, or B, their predatory nature starts to kick into play and they start running after you.
Yeah.
And that's when you get most of these attacks going the wrong way or going downhill, let's say. In this article, they said the best thing you can do is to cross your arms so that they're out of the way and the dog can't latch onto your arms. Or if you have some sort of barrier like a bench or a cycle, if you're cycling, or some sort of bin, if you have a barrier that can prevent the dog from attacking you it gives you a form of protection, but also the dog cannot attack you and latch onto your legs or your arms. So you have something stopping that dog from getting towards you. So it can buy you some time for if the owner's there to quickly come and take the dog away, or for something else to happen. So that was the main message I got from this, and it sort of solidified what I had heard all these years back. And I think this article came out after the fairly big number of deaths caused by these dog attacks, and therefore the lack of awareness of what to do when you are faced by a dog who is trying to attack you. So because of this article, like I said, all of these ideas of how to protect yourself are now solidified for me, and I hope that solidifies some of your understanding as well.
That's really well rationalized. Yes, phenomenal. Thank you for that. It's good that you're spreading awareness about this, because I just don't think there is enough awareness about this, because I didn't know half the things that you just said. Actually, to be honest, still being in a stance where this is still not talked enough about. I felt like this should have been streamed on the BBC for them to say this, but instead they decided to put out an article about it. I don't know. Let me pose this question to you, actually. Hypothetically, let's say everybody did what they had said in that article. Do you think it would have prevented the XL bully attacks, or do you think they still would have got absolutely slaughtered?
Like I said, the situation you're put in, or the situation that many of the people who have experienced dog attacks are put in, are not ideal. So they might not always have the opportunity to cross their arms. Because this happens so quickly, you might not be able to, realize, okay, I need to cross my arms, I need to find a barrier to stop the dog. I don't need to run away, because we are based on these quick responses, these quick reactions almost. We want to run away. And we make that mistake of running away, and suddenly we're put in a position where the dog is able to attack us. So yes, I think this article will prevent quite a few attacks in the future if it reaches a large audience, and I'm sure it has. And it's definitely useful, because I think most of what they say here seems quite how do I say, practical. It seems like it's the right thing to do in that situation, and I understand it, because this is, like I said, it solidifies what I had thought earlier.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good, the way that you've rationalized that as well. But okay. I think, would you say that it would have made a difference, so say for example in the most recent attack or a fatality of in which the XL bully has induced upon somebody else, brutally attacking them, with them having followed that piece of advice, in all honesty, I don't think that would have made a difference. I think the XL bully would have still got onto them and still attacked them.
Maybe that could be the case, but it would have definitely prevented the severity of the attack from being very severe.
Let me ask you this then, because this is telling you to not run away but to stand in front of the dog with your arms crossed, right? If the XL bully has not been brought up right, and I think I don't know how this has not been said with the amount of time that we have been now speaking about this topic, it's more so to do with the owners than it is to do with the actual dog and how the dog is raised, right? So, of course, I think this is only on the owner's part to blame, and I think 100%, intrinsically, I think the dogs are incredibly kind, gentle, soft. Of course, they have a physical stature to them. Incredibly intimidating as well. But I think, regardless, I think even in the most recent attacks that we have had, where a fatality has been induced, bearing this in mind, to stand in front of an XL bully, which has been trained maliciously, I don't know, by criminal counterparts, say, for example, hypothetically, for that XL bully to go and, attack that person, that XL bully is going in there with the intention of doing harm, if you know what I mean. If you're standing there, have that alpha presence in front of that dog, the person's going to get mauled.
But it's going to be near impossible, unless you are Usain Bolt, to outrun any dog. And maybe not any dog, but an XL bully specifically. Those dogs run pretty fast. So maybe unless you know you're pretty quick, and I know you are, Joseph, so maybe that might not apply to you. But
no.
If you're a 60, 70, 80-year-old, you're not going to be able to run away that quickly. So the best option is to stand your ground, try to fend yourself off with anything you have, a handbag, any sort of rucksack, anything that you might be carrying. Fend yourself off until the dog owner comes. And the other thing is to start shouting for help, to let other people know, so that something can be done. Police can be called, or someone who can stop this attack can be called. Running away might not always be the best solution. And bear in mind, I do disagree with you partly on the fact that when you said these dogs are all kind and all nice,
not all of them,
but these guys
I think it's mainly how they've been brought up.
They have been interbred from the grey wolf. The grey wolf is, of course, not a domesticated animal.
Right.
So that to a certain degree, these guys are going to naturally be vicious, and as much as you could tame them, they are still going to have that degree of wanting to attack
Right.
in a certain, if they're provoked. The other thing is, do not provoke dogs, because if you do provoke them, the chances are that they're going to attack you or want to attack you even more. So you have to, I personally, like I said, I agree with you that yes, some breeds are wonderful breeds like yours. It's
a Labrador.
Labrador. I was about to say Labrador. I was about to say Golden Retriever, but Golden Retrievers are the
I think they're still technically Labrador.
Those ones are domesticated, and you rarely see attacks from them. In fact, pit bulls, or not pit bulls, XL bullies constitute to about 60 to 65% of any dog attack. So I completely understand why they have actually banned the XL bullies from in the UK specifically. And you made the argument recently saying that yes, but you've also got dogs like German Shepherds, or what was the other one? Staffordshire.
Yeah, Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yeah, those are also very dangerous dogs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are banned or restricted. Like the selling of those dogs are restricted at some point in the future, because especially German Shepherds, they're usually used in police forces or armies as well. But with German Shepherds, I think they are much more loyal and they respond much better to commands than XL bullies, for instance.
Right, yeah. Now, what it is that I would say, particularly when it comes to, I think, my view lies on the premise that we should be blaming the owners. It's the owner's fault. Why is it that any time that there's a fatality when it comes to a dog attack or anything like that, I want to see harsher sentences on the counterpart for the owner, because there's no justice on that part, I think, and there needs to be more significant amp up in rules and regulations towards penalizing those who are owners of these dogs rather than just culling off the dog, because I feel like that's just the way that this country is going about everything that they do. You know, if they see a problem, they'll just go straight to the source of it and they'll just cut it off straight away. And to say that XL bullies is the prime source of this issue is disgusting, because that's what they've gone and done. They've decided that, of course, it's a dangerous breed. They've now classified it as a dangerous breed, as you've said. But so are Staffordshire Bull Terriers, Rottweilers, and German Shepherds. They are also dangerous breeds, but it's more so to do with how it is that they've been brought up. We need to figure out ways to figure out the causation of the problem. So I feel like rather than getting to the root cause of the problem, which is the dog causing the issue, we need to find the cause and effect relationship, if you know what I mean. The cause would be that the owner takes the dog on. What are the type of owners are we dealing with? Who is taking care of the dog? I feel like if these variables are changed significantly, now, it's one thing to say something, but it's a completely different thing to actually execute it. Because I think, of course, the government has an incredibly huge responsibility at hand to dealing with these situations. And of course, people are dying because of these dog attacks. And that is fatal, and that's something I can resonate with. So I guess, a nice, easy way for the government to go about it was just to ban the breed in general. And I think, that would help reduce numbers and fatalities, but it will only cascade to larger problems. I feel like this is a problem, which is they're just delaying the inevitable, which would be that, like you just said, they would end up just banning another breed. And let me just give you a bit of an insight. Is that all right? I've got an article right here, which kind of breaks down the legal definition of a dangerous dog breed. So the law defines a dog as belonging to a dangerous dog breed, where that a dog is a type or of a type belonging to the fighting breed of dogs of Pit Bull Terrier, Japanese Tosa, Dogo Argentina, or the Filo Brasileiro or something, or has any characteristics of these dogs that are bred for fighting. These dogs are banned These dogs are banned, and persons owning, breeding, advertising, or selling them will be fined up to $5,000. Okay, all right. So all face 6 months imprisonment. It is the characteristics of these dogs that have been the focus of the law surrounding the dog attacks since the Dangerous Dogs Act, which was passed in 1991, the DDA. Okay. Each of these dogs have been specifically bred to have the characteristics which make them good to fighting or hunting, or in terms of their strength, the capacity for aggression. So the DDA 1991 specifically uses the word type instead of breed because the potential for mongrels with the physical and behavioral characteristics of these bad dogs. What it is that I'm trying to say is to say that we're going to just ban a breed and just impose all these regulations straight away without, I feel like, putting more stricter regulations in to prevent the cause and effect relationship from taking place for it to then cascade to a problem of affecting an individual, I feel like is a detriment at the moment. I think that's something that needs to be resolved. I just want to get your take on that, kind of where I'm coming from.
I completely agree with the onus is on the owner for bringing up or for causing the dog to go berserk like that. And I think that this regulation, like you said, should be aimed more at the owners. And I think to a degree it is, because prior to the 1st of February of this year, the owners over the age of 16, when they are trying to apply or when they are trying to own a XL bully, they must apply for a certificate of exemption. And that requires them to pay a certain fee, namely £92.40 per XL bully. And they also have to acquire insurance and they have to microchip their dog. So they are trying to put regulations in place for these owners to essentially put off these owners from buying an XL bully, which is the whole point of preventing these dog attacks. So to a degree, they are aiming the punishment, if you like, towards the owners. But I do agree with the fact that they should not be solely trying to get rid of these dogs, because they are getting rid of them while someone else in the same country is producing them and breeding them again and again. And that's the whole issue, I think, with interbreeding.
Any dog that was an XL bully in a shelter, I can 100% without a doubt say they have been killed off. They have been sent to the vet to be euthanized and put to sleep ultimately. Because of these regulations which have come in, which I think is unjust and incredibly unfair, and as well as this, we can see that I think, that's kind of really all I want to say on that part. But like, again, that's another thing which the government has not effectively addressed. Why are you going to effectively just kill off just these dogs that are in shelters that just need a home? I felt like there should have been more structure and planning around that.
It seems like the first response for the government or for the authorities to prevent a dog attack is to get rid of the dog, when, like you said, they should be aiming it at the owner. And that's when the whole morality issue comes into play. And that's what a lot of dog owners and also non-dog owners like me, to an extent, are saying. It's not moral to just kill these dogs off just because they have been involved in a dog attack, because to a degree, and I think to a very big degree, it's our own faults that we've bred them that way. If we are interbreeding, we should be interbreeding to reduce their hostility. So we shouldn't be trying to make. I know there's a whole dog owners want to have a really scary dog like XL bullies or like German shepherds because they want to feel protected, or they just prefer it that way. But that also comes with a risk, and the government needs to be, or the authorities need to be better at assessing that risk beforehand and not just jumping on the opportunity to get rid of the actual dog.
I think we've covered a lot of points here, to be honest, but it's more of like a weighted discussion that we're trying to have, guys. It's more so spread awareness regarding these topics, and invite discussion as well. If you guys got any questions, leave it down in the comment section below. We'd definitely love to pick up on that sort of thing. Vias, have you got anything else that you kind of really want to cover or touch on?
So this is sort of me, or sort of us, trying to stick to what we said at the start of the year, and that is to have these podcasts based on articles and based on news. So this section that we're now starting off to call Spotlight Stories is going to, we're aiming for it to be much shorter than the longer pods, which we obviously cover and have covered. That being said, I think I've talked enough. We've had a wonderful discussion. Let us know what you think. Like Joseph said, listen to us on Spotify, because this will be on Spotify. And I think that's all I have to say.
Phenomenal. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.